finally. Well, I mean the first one, and this is gonna be fucking controversial. Four Kings. A tier in the best area in the game.
We're not
Ain't
talking
no
about
way.
areas.
Ain't no way. If I factor in the area, I might have to shit on the boss even more.
Yeah.
Newell on the Ruins is the best area in the game, and Four Kings is one of the best bosses in the game. It's A tier. There's no. I mean, why wouldn't it be?
Let's see.
Yeah, I can live with C.
Or, why? Why wouldn't it be a fucking A tier? It's A tier.
It's a DPS race,
Yeah.
which is annoying. The arena is at first it seems like it's a cool idea because you're just in the void, but no, there should be something. There should be something more to it to let you know where the edges are. The fucking frisbee is the dumbest shit. It goes on way too long.
Frisbee.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
fucking frisbee is the reason why it's not S tier.
The frisbee is absolute garbage.
Yeah, it is.
It also impacts your depth perception when you're fighting them because there's no geometry to place the boss in relation to, and so you whiff a lot in that fight, which I really, really dislike. The run back isn't particularly great, and that area to begin with kind of sucks. I'm also not a huge fan of the fact that in a game that has only 2 ring slots, you have to seal one to the whatever is to fight these guys. So yeah, it's a easy no-brainer C for me.
I mean, the moveset is. I mean, it's not that variated. It has some cool moves. Okay, the frisbee is absolute bullshit. The grab goes on for a bit too long before we actually grab.
Oh my god, I forgot about the grab. The grab is horseshit. Fuck this boss.
Yeah, I was actually surprised you went with C as a Hitler's runner killer. I know Hitler's guys hate Four Kings.
Yeah. No, their attacks are cool.
Yeah.
If you have the damage, if you don't have the damage, the fight is unbearable.
Yeah.
If you have the damage, their actual swings are pretty cool. There's a lot of cool strafes you can do. They're pretty fair. There's a little jank to it, like his poke where the hitbox is a little weird, but all that is cool. His AoE is fine. The frisbee's garbage. The grab's garbage. Yeah, the arena is, in theory, it seems like it's cool, but then when you do it, like Doc pointed out and Spectrum is saying, it's a depth perception thing. Yeah. And they should have been more idle once there's more of them, if they're going to have it where they can have fucking
They are
7
more
kings
idle.
out there.
They are more idle.
They're kinda idle. They should be even more idle.
I mean, that they're only not idle when you get close to them, basically. And
then they go to do a grab or they go to do a frisbee.
Yeah,
and then where the fuck are you gonna go, Ginge?
The frisbee is bullshit, fine, I'll give you that much. The grab, the animation before they grab goes on for a bit too long, okay? But, like, I like the fact that it's a DPS race because it adds another layer of difficulty, basically. It's like, I need to get my swings in as fast as possible while dodging.
Wait, you like difficulty now, Ginge?
What?
When did that happen?
What? No, it's
I
just...
didn't know you were a fan of difficulty suddenly.
No, it's just an extra little edge. Like, it brings a little bit extra pressure, and I like that about it. And
Interesting.
The depth perception, I never had that problem. Like, but I only start swinging when I fucking touch them. You know, when you bump into them, basically. Like,
Can I add another spanner into the works, which I think is also noteworthy? That being that the Four Kings feature in the intro cinematic to the game, and immediately come up as, this very kind of cool boss that you really want to keep an eye out for. And then when you go there, I don't know about you guys, but I felt a deep sense of, being underwhelmed by what was put out, and I think that also colored my impression of the boss, because they are one of the 4 kind of big bads in the game.
Mhm.
Yeah. Also, it's a lie because there's more than 4 kings potentially.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. No, I just thought
Them
they were more than
themselves look cool. I like the design. I will
Mhm.
say I like the design of the boss. What they look like is cool.
Yeah, and their lore is also just amazing.
Kinda.
Fucking A tier. Fuck both of you.
The lore isn't even. They're just
A
fucking
tier is
kings.
nuts, and Ginge didn't share his real reason for liking the 4 kings, and that's that he just puts on full Havel and stands in front of them and takes hits to the face while chipping at the health.
There you go.
Look,
Fun.
I think it's very convenient that he didn't mention that.
we agreed I wouldn't take cheese into account, and I didn't. Like, I like the fact, like, okay, first of all, that there's the run-up, well, I mean, there's getting ready for the boss. You can't just run in and then go swing at him. Like, you need to do the whole sifting. You need to get that ring. You need to, like, do the whole Enorlando, Noodle on the Ruins
You
thing.
don't. That doesn't count.
Yeah, no, but I mean, like, it's preamble to the fight, and I kind of like the fact that it's like a little preamble, because it is, like, as we pointed out, like, it is one of the main bosses in the series, and it shouldn't just be like, okay, I'm here now, let's fucking do this. And their design is
almost
great.
wanna drop
Their
him
effects
Level
are great.
design though.
Sorry,
Yeah,
what?
I almost want to drop him to D just for saying New Londo is the best area in DS1.
Also, we're talking about runbacks. If you don't know the shortcut, which is not intuitive at all, it's not even intended, I don't think.
Yeah, that makes
Then
sense.
the runback is horrible.
Is the
And interrupted by DS1 standards, a relatively difficult enemy, those rates.
The rates, and you need an elevator ride. You need a fucking elevator ride and then run through an entire area. If you don't know the shortcut, that's like, fuck, that's like 5 minutes.
Okay, for DS1 standards, if you don't know the shortcut, it is a long run. I'll grant you that much, but the fight itself is
Even with the
amazing.
shortcut, you're at Firelink. You have
Yeah,
to take that elevator
Yep.
and then run.
Yep.
So even with the shortcut, it's not great.
yeah, that's true. And
Yeah,
welcome
we're
in,
not going to agree on
Mavis.
this. I think both of us will never concede it's an
And-
A.
And those ghosts can hit you through the wall too.
Yeah,
I shouldn't bring that up since DS2, you can get hit at the wall all the time.
yeah.
Watch Killer do a 180 on that. When we
I mean,
You know what's good? It's realistic that you can't just stand at a fog wall and not get hit, guys.
I think you need to pay attention to chat for a moment, Killer.
Need to ball jiggling? I was doing that the whole time. I've been doing that.
But yeah, no, I don't think we're going to have any agreement. Killer and I agree it's a C minus situation, and Ginge obviously rates the boss.
At a
Yeah.
decent level. They added a bonfire before Pinwheel in the remaster, not before 4 Kings. The bonfire before Pinwheel was always there. Wait, was there?
I don't think so. I think Nuke is right. But my general belief when it comes to FromSoft is Nuke is right, because he notes down the details obsessively.
Yeah, like I've played it all in the beginning. Like the moment they came out, I thought there was a bonfire there with the blacksmith.
Chain game? What chain game? I think A is outrageous, and I think everybody
Yeah.
does, but cool.
Me too. I think A is nuts.
It is one of the best bosses in the game, in the series. Hey,
I think
welcome
that's
NFP.
Terrible indictment of DS1 if 4 Kings is one of the best bosses.
Yeah, that's because you haven't seen the rest of my takes yet.
I think Gaping Dragon's the next one, is it?
Yeah, Gaping Dragon. C.
Really?
Yeah.
I would be willing to give Gaping Dragon a B. Gaping Dragon, the reveal is super fucking cool. His moves are kind of bullshit. They look cool though. They're pretty fair. Yeah, it's not great. The arena gives you enough room.
Mm.
Yeah, B. Also C. I don't know. The opening cutscene is cool.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I think I would, be smack in the middle of the two of you and say B minus. The arena is quite generous for the nature of the fight that it is. There are some camera issues, particularly towards the edges of the arena, but barring that, it's not a bad fight. So yeah, I'd say B minus.
Yeah, I'm like the opening cutscene the first time that you see it, and you come into that, and then like it's the first like really big boss that you find in FromSoft. Like Demon Souls doesn't have any bosses on a scale of Gaping Dragon, Quagwa, in regards to like how big they are, and then it is like imposing, but like that feeling quickly fades when he does like his stupid jump up attacks where you just can't see him, like, and he does a 360 in the air where he's just locked on immediately after you. Like if it wasn't for that jumping attack and like it was just like with a tail swipe that he basically turns like the dragons do, for instance, in Elden Ring, it would have been like a B tier to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
The way he moves is also, it doesn't look great.
it doesn't. He just has like a weird like
Waddle.
animation where he just jumps up and then drops down like a rock.
Yeah.
But I think Spec also brings up a good point, which is that his HP bar is just way too generous for that stage of the game.
And I think Snazzy sums up his looks best. It looks like a demonic vagina.
Yeah,
Yeah.
B minus for me, and I don't think it merits much consideration beyond that.
Right, it's gonna be like high C. Like I wouldn't feel right putting it in B. Like there's fights in here that deserve or more deserving for B tier.
That's fine by me, but I should say, and I'm dead certain Killer agrees, that if it was our tier list, we would have Gaping over Four Kings.
Yeah.
Because you guys have no taste whatsoever.
Yeah. Okay, they're Fool's Idol.
Really, I thought for sure you were gonna bring up Armored Spider.
Armored Spider is better than Fool's Idol. Actually, they're both shit.
Yeah, that's really a choice I don't wish to make in life. Moving on.
Sif. S tier.
Yep. It begins with an S. It's an S. It's a really good fight. And the lore, the reveal, the arena, it's without a doubt an S.
Cutscene is underrated too. Very good cutscene, and changes if you've killed.
That's really cool. I don't know who would do that, but
yeah.
Without knowing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, side note for me is I wish the ER DLC was integrated in that way, where killing Radahn would elicit a response from Melania or from even Gideon.
That'd be cool.
But I think it's really cool that with Sif you do have that. So while I personally I think have him as an A tier boss, I can be fine with S tier as well.
I hated in hit lists for those hops.
I was gonna say, I'm surprised you went with S.
Yeah. I didn't want to do all hit lists. And hit lists it's annoying, but the thing is it's still a fun fight.
Yeah.
The hops aren't as annoying to me as the frisbee.
Yeah.
It's an A for me, but S is not like something I can't live with.
Mavis, you have me on Discord as well, right? But like I think it is like the only instance in all of the FromSoft catalog where they did something like that, like with the cutscene. Like I cannot remember a single other instance where they did something like that.
Yeah.
There is like a different sort of approach. Like for example, in DS2, if you get the crowns from the 3 final bosses of the DLC, then you don't hollow in the base game anymore, which is kind of a nice little tie-in. But yeah, I agree. I think Sif does it best, and I really think Elden Ring missed out on an opportunity there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, S tier. Gwyn.
This one's tough, bro. This one's so tough because of the fact that, I mean, so on the one hand, I mean, if we're talking pure lore, then I think Gwyn is a very compelling character, obviously. And I think DS1 does a fantastic job of building him up as a character if you follow the story through the game. The theme song is, correct me if I'm wrong, probably to this day the most iconic theme song FromSoft has ever produced.
Plin, plin,
It's
plon.
almost,
Yeah.
yeah, it's literally a meme at this point, and a positive meme at that. It's not a negative one. But
Yeah.
the fight is so hard to rate because the go-to strategy now makes it an absolute joke, and
Yeah.
because it does that, nobody I think fights him conventionally. I mean, I certainly don't, and I don't know anyone that really does. So
I kind of do.
yeah, I'd probably place it in A, just because of my respect for the lore, the music, the character, and all of that. But yeah, just short of S.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd do A as well.
Yeah, I would
For
put him.
pretty much the same reasons.
Yeah.
The arena I don't like though.
The arena sucks.
The arena looks kind of cool. I like that from the lore and all that, but it's annoying to fight in.
Yeah, there's a lot in the way, basically.
Yeah.
I would put him above 4 Kings here as well, like in A tier. And then, like we all know, I don't fucking parry. Like, I always have to fight him straight up. But even if you fight him straight up, like, at that point when I'm fighting him, like, I got Elizabeth Mushrooms, I got Havel Armor. It's just face tank while Elizabeth Mushrooms just heal you all the fucking time.
He has cool moves too. I
Yeah.
don't like the fast swipe because, hitless, but hitless you're just parrying anyway. But yeah, he has cool moves. I like his aesthetic. He looks cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think if you fight him straight up, like, he is still a challenge with, like, the moveset he has. Like, some of them are slower, some of them are a lot quicker. Like, his grab is well telegraphed. You always have room there to dodge it. But yeah, if you fight him straight up, like, without parry, without, like, Havels or anything, it is still a challenging fight.
I just want to
Yeah,
interrupt to say, how dare you, Snazzy? We're
Hey,
done,
I
you and
remember-
I. Sorry.
I remember Spec mentioning that. I mean, he fought him conventionally. Him mentioning that Gwyn felt like a pretty hefty spike in terms of challenge compared to the remainder of the game, and I do see that because he's a lot faster than every other boss, and because DS1 is such a slow-paced combat system, I feel like that can be pretty jarring and challenging for players. But if you, like Killah and I, parry, it's like a comical fight where you put him down in four or
Yeah.
5 parries.
Without a parry or Havels, it's a very difficult fight.
Yeah.
Yeah, I imagine so. But yeah, for those reasons, I have him an A personally, and I have everyone over 4 Kings, so yeah.
And the next one is Iron Golem. Like, that's just like a throwaway fight. It's just, I mean, if you
The best thing about him is that you can see him from outside, and that's kind of cool.
yeah, like, you know what's coming.
And I think it's kind of cool, just the size and scale of the boss. I imagine when the game released, that was quite impressive for, I guess, people who hadn't heard of the much superior God of War 1 and 2.
Wow.
But yeah, as a fight, it's not particularly interesting. The camera's garbage. There is a gravity scare that I despise.
Yeah.
I'm entirely with Snazzy and Spec. It's a flat C for me.
Yeah, C is fair. It's cool that you can knock him off. That's always the first time you see it is funny. You wouldn't expect it because it's a boss, but yeah, you can just get him to fall right off, which is cool. But yeah, it's annoying the arena for you because you can get knocked off there, and also those dudes throwing bombs who are easy enough to deal with. You just kill them before, but it's annoying.
Oh, one more thing that just occurred to me is let us all, have a moment of silence for the unfortunate first time playthrough that didn't discover the secret bonfire. Because that person probably wants to kill themselves if they die at Iron Golem.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, if you don't have the bonfire, the slog back, it's so fucking annoying. But also, like, if you're in human form and you go to the side tower, you get Iron Dorcas. Like, I mean, if you're someone who likes to summon your NPCs in, you just stand back and watch Iron Dorcas absolutely destroy Iron Golem.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm good with C tier.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
I would say above Gaping Dragon.
I wouldn't personally, but
yeah, I knew the two of you wouldn't agree.
Oh no, I'm just getting mine loaded up. I'm putting it in the chamber. F F F F F.
Wait for the next couple of bosses, or what are you?
No, all those Fs were for the one.
Oh, okay.
Who's next?
Moonlight Butterfly.
I think I'll go F on this one.
Did you lose like a bunch of hitless runs to it?
It's so garbage. Okay, it's garbage in hitless, and it's garbage just in general too. It's fucking terrible.
Yeah, I agree.
I refer people to Spec's comment and say that my sentiments are perfectly echoed there. I have nothing more to say. C tier.
And I agree with the like. It's not a memorable fight, and like even if you beat it, it doesn't give that many souls. Like it's just another gimmick. Like if you have magic again, or if you have a bow, sure you can like hit it when it's in the air. Otherwise, you're just basically waiting and then dodging until it finally sets down, and then hope you can kill it in one go. Otherwise, you're just doing the same thing again and again and again. And even if you did beat it, like you go up the tower and there is absolutely nothing of value actually that you can pick up.
There's a coal, right? You get a coal.
And there's a coal, a coal. But does anybody use the coal? Because I think it's a divine one.
Is that the? Yeah, well, that one's good for the catacombs, right?
Yeah, but by then you got a blessed mace. I know you got the occult mace from Anorlando. If you look for it.
Yeah. It's terrible.
It's just a dreadfully boring boss that nobody particularly looks forward to fighting. It's a flat sort of C.
It's a D. Hey, and Doc, thank you very much for the gift sub to FP.
Pleasure.
Yeah.
Cheers, FP.
Next up is Nito. Now, Nito, honestly, I like Nito himself. His like design, his moveset. I just hate the arena and the fact that we have those other guys walking there. Like that's the only issue I have with Nito. Otherwise, Nito is a great fight.
Yeah, I don't like the ads. Those being those skeletons, obviously. I don't like that landing into the arena causes you to lose half your HP bar. And I think I'm not a huge fan of his moveset. He doesn't really have a particularly compelling one. He has a few swipes that you can easily avoid, and then you have to run away every time he does the big AoE. I think my biggest complaint is that Nito, from a lore standpoint, is supposed to be arguably the most powerful boss in all of DS1 and probably top 5 in the entire Dark Souls universe. And it ends up being like a comically easy fight that most of us probably beat in the first sort of 2 or 3 attempts. So yeah, I can't see my way to giving it more than a C personally.
Yeah, Nito is free without the skeletons there, and the skeletons are annoying. So, yeah, it's bad.
Yeah, I think like if you take away like his arena, like put him in an arena without the skeletons and one where you can just walk into without having to drop, it would be a fun fight. Like speed him up just a little bit, I think. And that he does his moves like faster, or at least change them together more, and you got an A-tier fight. Like at the moment, I would say C, like high C, mainly because of like his arena and then the circumstances around him.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Yeah.
I also hate the
probably
area.
put D or C. Here's the thing: in Hitless, he's actually fun to fight because you can strafe everything, but it's very easy.
Yeah.
And you can kind of
I
tell
also-
when they made him, they were like, "Oh shit, he sucks. Let's throw some skeletons in there."
Yeah.
I also would be remiss if I didn't point out that Tomb of the Giants is an absolute turd of an area.
Yeah.
See, I don't hate Doom of the Giants.
We are aware, unfortunately. Yeah.
I love when I can't see anything.
But you can if you got the sunlight maggots.
Please, Ginges, take a minute to, for chat's benefit, defend Tomb of the Giants. Tell us why it's a good area.
Okay, so it's a crappy area if you don't have any light. But if you have like the cast light spell, or you got like the sunlight maggot, it's an okay area. Like you can actually see. Like the verticality there is just amazing. Like the
What
items.
verticality? There's no verticality.
Yeah, there fucking well is.
Yeah, are you counting the ditch that Patches kicks you in as like, oh look, there's verticality, now I have to climb back?
Okay, you got.
You technically have to drop down when you run through there, but those skeletons are way too aggressive.
I don't know.
Dog skeletons.
The dog skeletons are pretty aggressive, but like
And there's too many of them.
But you can lure them out and fight them one at a time.
No, because you can't see.
but carry on. I'm interested in your
And there
ballistic.
definitely is verticality. Like not only the sliding down bit and everything, but like if you go up certain areas and you go down, like where the Black Knight is some stuff you can find there. There's like this big tomb thing that's full. That's the tomb thing. If you fall down there, you're just fucked. Like with all the with like 5 or 6 of the big skeletons in there. You know, you can traverse everything where you got ambushed basically by the archer skeletons and stuff like that. Like yeah, there's definitely some nice verticality there, and the fact that like when you actually go back into the light area, you're basically like at the bottom of, or you're basically just above and looking out over the lake area there. What's it called again? Ashen Lake. Like that's a nice little touch for me. Like I like the area.
Wait, how are you tying Ash Lake to?
Is that what you can see from where the gold fog gate is? If you haven't
Yeah.
gone to Anne
yeah,
Arundel?
okay, yeah.
I didn't
Yeah.
even know that. That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
And then it's also
I did
cool
know.
when you run into the next section and there's a bunch of blood babies or whatever the fuck those are.
Yeah, those like the blood babies, like they I kind of love the blood babies.
They're hilarious. They're
Yeah.
annoying, but they're hilarious.
Yeah, they're annoying, but they're fucking hilarious.
Yeah, personally for me, there's a case to be made that Tomb of the Giants is the worst area in DS1. I think the only area that comes to my mind and that compares with it is Lost Islith, which is also garbage. But yeah, we're not going to agree on that.
Nope. I'm gonna put him in C tier, Nito.
I'm
Yeah.
excited about what comes next.
Ornstein and Smaug.
The ultimate copium boss.
The ultimate duo fight. S tier.
I'd put it S. I thought it was overrated for a very long time. But I could be knocked down from that. No, S tier. There's a bunch of fucking jank with it that's super annoying. But when you learn the fight, even though it's a run killer, it's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. I am torn on this. So on the positive end, obviously, the drama of a duo fight, has to be accounted for. I don't think there are very many games that until that point did something like that. And I also think, obviously, the whole gimmick of the one that's alive absorbing the powers of the one that's departed is very cool. But having said that, I think there's like individual things in the fight that really annoy me. One is getting to the fight. I really dislike that there's those kind of giant armored knights on the way to the boss. That if aggro can be a pain, and certainly if you're trying to do Solaire's quest can be a real nightmare. I don't like the hitboxes on certain attacks, and certainly I'm no fan of the famous Ornstein slide across the arena. I think the other thing is the space too, while really kind of cool in principle, is very kind of poorly executed because it becomes sort of a joke when there's just one of them. They really only have one or two moves you have to watch out for, and then the remainder of it is really no challenge, assuming you get to phase 2. So yeah, probably on the whole, maybe an A minus. Certainly not the best duo boss from put out, in my opinion.
It is the best duo boss From has ever put out. Like,
No, there's a certain duo in DS3 that I think deserves that.
There's a duo in DS2 and DS3.
In the DLC.
Oh right.
Yeah, no, I like it. There's the jank to it. There's a couple things, obviously, Glitchstein. And then Smo with his hammer attack, sometimes he extends it past where he should have swung, and that's annoying. But yeah, it's basically just Glitchstein. Other than that, it would, to me, be no question in S. But I still put it S.
Yeah, I mean Ornstein can like glitch out and do some very weird stuff. And then even when he is like Mega Ornstein, he can do stuff like that. But
with some of it, you can, I will say, this is more of a hit list thing, but it's kind of casual as well. You can get some bad AI, and that goes with most duo fights, except the one that Pseudo's referring to. They solved it with that one as far as not getting shit AI. It's pretty consistent. But sometimes you can get really bad AI, and there's just no openings.
yeah. Yeah, that's fair. Like when I played Dark Souls like for the first time, ONS was like the fight where I actually had to put like the game aside for a couple of months and come back to it because like that was the first time I ever had that much fucking trouble with any fight in any game. And like that had always like colored my judgment, I guess, a bit because like it's such an iconic fight. First of all, it's and then you're not even fighting like real people. Like you're fighting one real person, and the other is a phantom, basically an illusion, and still it just like the arena is great, the lore around them is great. The fight itself, although with glitches and everything, is great. Yeah, I just love
I think the
everything about
cutscenes
it.
are very good too, for both Phase 1 and Phase 2.
Yeah, yeah,
They're pretty
Very good
iconic.
theme too. The run back is terrible if you don't do the shortcut,
yeah.
like the
It
jump the
is,
railing.
and yeah, and like I said, if you're trying to do Soler's quest, it's really annoying to summon him because he inevitably aggroes the knights and
Mm.
ends up wasting like half his HP bar fighting the knights, which is a bit of a pain. But yeah, I do concede Ginger's point that, you know, for all of the DS1 bosses, he's probably the one, or rather, they're probably the one that offer an element of surprise on every subsequent playthrough, whereas the others you can almost kind of rinse each time after the
Yeah.
first playthrough because they're not particularly hard.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think I'd probably maybe even go for an A personally and not an A minus, but I can live with you guys as S's.
Yeah. Yeah, S tier. Yeah. The next one, it's definitely gonna be S tier again. Pinwheel.
S tier meme.
Yeah.
It wouldn't actually be a terrible fight if he had more HP. Like his clones, I don't know. It's
It's not a
yeah,
bad gimmick,
I don't
yeah.
know.
It's not a bad gimmick. It's just the arena kind of sucks because of
Yeah.
how cramped it is. And yeah, obviously he has next to no HP. Yeah, for me, he's a C. Like, you know, it doesn't leave an impression one way or another.
No,
Yeah,
it's just a
C.
fight you have to get through, basically.
Yep. Nice reward for
maybe
killing
even
him though, with
D.
the Ride of Kindling.
Yeah, but that I think I was just thinking about. It's like this ties in a bit with like what Killah was saying about the about having him more health. Like he holds the right of kindling, which is arguably a very important item for the player to have, and yet it's the boss that's holding it is such a throwaway boss with so little health that most players can two-shot him at that point.
Look at the run back, and then that makes it clear that he had to be a pushover. Like that run back is brutal.
Yeah.
Like in Hitless, you skip the whole thing, but like that's a long run back.
Well, I mean, if you get Famos's bonfire, the run back isn't that bad.
Yeah, I guess that I didn't find that.
Yeah.
But yeah, not much to say beyond, you know, it's one of those bosses you have to get past.
Yeah, I would put it in D tier, but like maybe above Moonlight Butterfly.
Yeah, probably just because you get the Ride of Kindling, which is a very cool item. Moonlight Butterfly doesn't even have a good item going for it.
Everything is ahead of Moonlight Butterfly.
I knew that was coming. Oh, everything? Look 5 spaces ahead. Bed of Chaos is coming.
Everything
Bed
except
of
Four
Chaos
Kings.
is better.
Wow.
Four Kings is definitely below Moonlight.
No, see, I can hear a case. I can hear a case for Four Kings. Like, there's a lot of bullshit, and I'm not crazy about it, but I could see somebody liking that. I don't know. It feels like they ruined it, but we already went over that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Seat the scales. A. It's A for me.
The best you'll get out of me is a C.
Wow.
Same.
Yeah.
Same. And I have a feeling our criteria are going to differ on this. But I'm eager to hear your thoughts first, Ginge.
Well, first of all, lore-wise, amazing fight. Run up to him is abysmal. Like I know you can like skip the glam things, if you like with the arrows and everything. Like I know the strat for that. But like as Cliff pointed out earlier, like if you don't consider the meta for it, like it's just horrendous killing them each and every time. But the fight itself, like its moveset is limited, but it's still a challenge to keep him like dodged. He has the curse build up, which one makes you want to end the fight quickly. There's no real. I mean, there are safe spots. Like if you hug his tail, basically, well, the sideways tail, like in that fold there, you don't usually get the curse. Well, don't get a lot of curse build up, and you can just wail on him. But like he has attacks that can go over the entire arena. If you don't know that safe spot, it's really looking for openings to run in and hit him. He has 360 attacks, like he is in front of him. He has a tail swipes to left, right, and behind him. He's an all-around boss.
Yeah, I'm not a fan. Not even the invincibility stuff, that's annoying, but they give you a pretty obvious hint at it with where you end up in the fight. Like you walk in at the front gate or door, whatever you want to talk about, and then they put you behind him and the crystal's there. So that's a pretty good hint. That being said, I didn't get the hint. But the fight itself, lore, yeah, the lore is cool. Lore is fine. His look is almost really cool. I like the arena. The arena looks cool. I just don't like the octopus legs. I don't like it. It ruins it. Other than that, he looks super cool. The fight, I don't like the fight. His moves suck. It's basically just running in and out. You can try and go by the tail, I guess, but he just takes up so much of the arena with his tentacles. Yeah, I'm not a fan.
Yeah, for me, I think that, I'm not a fan of hyperbole, but I actually think that describing the run up to him or the run back to him as abysmal is almost understating it. That might be the most despicable and awful run back in FromSoft history in many ways, because heavens forbid you slip off the blasted ice. I imagine many people shattered very many controllers going through that segment of the game. The fight in and of itself, yeah, there's nothing to look forward to. He has a handful of moves, none of which are terribly difficult to dodge. The one that I really dislike is the one that spawns the crystals from the ground, that proc curse. If you are not positioned appropriately in the arena, you basically get stuck in the pool of crystals, and dodging out of it is rather hard. So you end up, either taking significant damage and being hit by a follow-up attack and sent back to the bonfire, or you get curse procced on, which is even worse. Side note, I also dislike that the crabs can enter into the fight at times and add an additional, amuse bouche for you to consume while you take on the turd that is.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
So yeah, I mean, I think actually, I'm almost talking myself into a D even here. Even though my initial gut feeling was C. But I do give Ginge the lore point. The lore is obviously quite impactful. And he is, and I might be wrong on this, but technically the first dragon boss in FromSoft history, yeah?
Gaping Dragon.
I want to say yes. So, you gotta kind of give it, yeah, I guess Gaping, but Gaping's kind of like not a traditional dragon, if you will.
Wyvern?
Yeah.
So I guess.
No, I think he's actually a dragon.
Is he? Okay. I mean, yeah. I was trying to find a way to spin a positive. But yeah, I mean, I can't give it more than a C minus if I'm honest with you. I really dislike the fight and the run back.
Yeah, I feel the same.
Yeah, the run back is abysmal, but I like the fight. Like, I feel that the curse things are quite easily to avoid. Like with Fap Ring and Curse Bite Ring, it's you're never in any danger of getting the of getting cursed.
It's just not an interesting attack to avoid, in my opinion. You just run away, and then you
Yeah,
wait,
and I think
and then you run back in, and then you wait.
Yeah, I think Spec also offers another important point to acknowledge, which is that whenever there's a large boss in a FromSoft game and it requires you to hug the boss, close up, the camera immediately loses its mind, and that's again the case with Seed because you basically can't
Yeah,
see any of its attacks while
Yeah.
you're kind of in that crevice between two of its octopus legs.
yeah.
So yeah, that's also annoying. And I mean, maybe I'm not doing it right, but guys, I played this game 3 times and I have never gotten the Moonlight Greatsword. I just don't know what to do and how to get it.
It's attacking his like the long tail at the back of him.
Yeah, I know that, but yeah, it just somehow never drops for me, and maybe I'm just cursed in that regard. But yeah, C minus for me.
I'm pretty sure you have to go like just the tip.
I thought it was midway through.
No, yeah, see the very tip of the tail. It's counterintuitive.
I know.
Yeah, exactly.
I got the platinum for it, so I know I
Calamite's
have the
tails
sword.
are nightmares for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and if you like, honestly, I think Priscilla is much harder to get her tail weapon than Seed.
Oh no,
Priscilla's
I didn't
hard
find
too.
that. I had more trouble with Seath.
Oh wow.
But yeah, both of them, they're all just, yeah, it's not what you'd expect, like Spectrum said.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, flat C for me, C minus.
I mean, for me, yeah, I mean, A minus B plus. I'll put it in B.
For me, it's just his looks that's carrying it to a C.
Wow. Jeez, you guys are harsh.
No, that's just a bad one.
I mean, everyone in chat saying the same thing. It's just you as the odd one out here.
Asylum Demon. So the tutorial boss, basically, not the other one.
Before we get into Asylum Demon, I just want to point out that this stream would have been absolutely infuriating if Killer and I weren't here. People in chat would just lose their fucking minds.
People in
They
chat
would
are
give us
already
pity
losing their
or
minds.
takes.
Yeah.
At least they have somebody representing their thoughts. Otherwise, it would be like the worst dictatorship on the internet right now.
Hey, I mean, look at what Snazzy says. Snazzy says S tier because he fucked Guinevere. So that's something.
Okay, I'm okay with that. S.
Yeah, alright.
Was it the
Moving
real
on.
one or the illusion?
Wait, Guinevere is... You're talking about Gwen... Oh, right.
Gwendolyn? No, that's
Yeah,
Snake.
yeah. He's a real one. He's always real. Well, he/she. Gotta get those
The-
bonus, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, Nico, I guess the DS2 boss Flame Lurker has the worst run back. Yeah. We'll get to him. We'll get to him in the next tier list.
Moving on to
Asylum Demon. I mean, there's 3 of the fuckers in the game, and I feel that all 3 of them can just be put into C tier. Like, they're just fucking throwaway fights.
No, incorrect.
Okay.
Asylum Demon is like a C. No, a B. No, it's somewhere there. A B minus, a C plus. Stray Demon. I don't know. I like what they added to him, so that's maybe a B. And then Fire Sage is a D because that arena is bullshit, and he's got the same fucking moves again.
Yeah, I think I'm with Ginge. I think I'd kind of average it all out to a C. If I was
Yeah.
talking specifically about Asylum Demon, I'd probably have him at a B. Because I think it's kind of a cool little gimmick that you actually don't have to fight him. You have to run past him into the little door to go grab your
Mhm.
weapons and stuff. And I do think that the sort of cinematic jump from the ledge to take out half his HP bar is a cool little detail and exercised again when you fight Taurus Demon. But yeah, if I factor in Stray and Fire Sage, who have the same moves and then a few other bullshit moves, I think I have to average them all out to C.
Yeah, I'd probably go B, B, and D for Fire Sage.
Or, you don't always have to run into that small door on the side. You can just do something like Nico, who picked the Divine Blessings as her starting gift, and used them all on the very first attempt on Asylum Demon without ever noticing the door.
There you go.
Yeah. She still
That's a
failed,
win.
but at least she got something out of that, I guess.
Yeah, but I'm pretty open to you guys' direction on the 3 demons. I'm okay with all of them in C, but I can also live with Killah's B, B, and D.
Honestly, I for me, it's all 3 of them or just C. Like, I get why Demon Fire Sage would be D, because the arena is just...
Didn't you lose a Deathless run to the Fire Sage way back in the day before Twitch?
Yeah, I did. I did.
I lost 2 hitless runs to him.
Yeah.
I beg of you, put him in D.
Yeah, okay, you know what? That's fair. The other 2 are going into C, Asylum and Stray, and then Demon Fire Sage into D.
Yeah,
And
I think
FB, yes. My answer to that is yes.
Taurus Demon. And you guys are gonna hate me for this. A tier.
Oh my god. Ginge.
A tier is very generous in my opinion. I would give it a B. It's actually not that bad to fight close up even. Of course, nobody does that. Everyone just does the ladder cheese.
Mm.
Yeah, I'd give it a B.
I
it's not that
do.
bad.
I do C.
I mean...
I might even go D. But I
Wow.
guess it's a cool mechanic that you can plunge, even though we've already seen that. Don't let me talk more. It's going to be a D. A solid D.
The only thing I don't like about the fight is the fact that there were those 2 guys in the arena, on top of that tower. But, like, he has one of the greatest arena entries there is. Like, they even copied it in Bloodborne afterwards. He has an amazing design. Like, I mean, okay, granted, maybe that's a bit biased because I when I grew up, I loved the story about the Minotaur in ancient Greece. Maybe that's a bit biased there. But I really love the design of him. It's a small arena, but it still gives you plenty of space to actually maneuver him and to fight him. Like, you can get knocked down, but you can also knock him down. There is a drop attack, which Asylum Demon has started to do. Yeah, it's A tier for me. I just love that fight.
Yeah, I just don't like the arena's bad. For the plunge attack, sure, and I guess you could argue that having the archers there is a good hint. Like, the archers are super annoying the first time you go in there because they're hiding up there, but then I guess that's telling you, hey, come up here for a minute, and then we'll remind you that you can plunge attack. But no, you're just on a bridge and he's huge. It's hard to keep track of anything, and he can knock you off.
Yeah, but you can knock him off too. Like, it's
Yeah, but this isn't the same as Iron Golem.
No, that's
Run back
fair.
also is a real pain.
Yeah.
It's a fairly lengthy run back to the boss.
Yeah.
But it's an easy
Yeah.
run back.
I mean, I feel like, well, the one thing is we fucked up forward by your 4 Kings as an A tier boss take.
Hey, Cliff agrees
But
with me.
I also just feel, fundamentally off with the notion that a boss that has 2 or 3 moves deserves an A tier credit, but it is what it is. But yeah, B tier for me. There's just not enough value there for A tier in my opinion.
I'd put C.
Yeah.
C
Yeah, I'd
minus.
actually be more
Maybe not a D.
sympathetic to Killer than to your take, Ginge. I don't think he's A tier by any stretch.
Yeah, I mean, I just love that fight. Like, they did him a disservice in like repeating him later on in the Demon Ruins, because if it would have been just the boss, you don't come across him anywhere else, it would have been better. But yeah, I love the fights. I love the design.
The OST is kind of iconic for DS1 though. I'll give him that.
Right, the best fight now out of all the FromSoft catalog, Battle of Chaos.
Do we even need to discuss this one?
Yeah, the straight D minus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is the worst boss in FromSoft history.
Can I actually make another category? Is that possible on this thing?
Yeah. Don't even bother. Just leave it. Don't even put it on the fucking board.
We're not even gonna put it on the fucking boards.
Yeah.
I think Dragon God is an embarrassment of a boss, but Bed of Chaos, I almost have trouble even discussing it because it's just an abomination. Like it's not a boss. It's an actual abomination that, to be very honest with you, I just find inexcusable that they placed in a game that was sold at full price.
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard originally there was supposed to be like a king that you fought in there, similar to Old Monk. And I think that would have been cool. If there were the stupid arms and you had to get past the stupid arms to the middle to fight, that wouldn't be terrible. But with we don't even have to talk about it. I don't even know why I'm talking.
Plus the fuck, bro. Even the run back is garbage. Every time you die, it's a pretty lengthy run back, and you have to avoid the hardest hitting Titanite demon in the game.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's literally nothing redeeming that you can highlight about Bed of Chaos.
Yeah.
The spectacle of it. That's it.
Yeah, but even the spectacle, like.
It's a fucking tree, man. I don't know.
Yeah, the flaming.
You see those burning in California all the time.
The flaming things are kind of fine, and again, it's like a tree, but then you got those like, I think they're supposed to be roots or branches, like they just like in the middle that come down. They don't touch the floor, but they look like fleshy tentacles somehow. Like it's not a good design.
It's awful.
Oh wait, I did find a good thing about it. The slide you get to go down beforehand.
Okay, yeah.
That is kind of
yeah, alright. Purely because of the slides.
There are only 3 bosses across the 7 games that I will flat out, without question, place in F tier. One is Bed of Dragon God, the other is Bed of Chaos, and the third is Mikolash. Those are the only bosses I place straight up in the F tier. And then there's a few edge cases where I can be persuaded. Yeah. So yeah, this is by far the worst boss in FromSoft history.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And Cliff does make good point. Another good thing about this boss is checkpoints. Like, imagine doing this one without the checkpoints would be just horrible.
The Valiant Gargs I still have in D tier spec because with certain builds and Ashes of War or Spirit Ashes, you can kind of navigate the fight fairly well. But with Bed of Chaos, Mikolash, and Dragon God, regardless of what you do, it is always a painful fight. And I never enjoy it, so yeah, I have to give those guys flat F tier. And then there's a few that I'd be open to a discussion on for F tier as well.
We'll get to those bosses later on. The ER bosses.
Yeah, I still think Dragon God is a C, but I can see it being a D.
Yeah. Artorias S tier.
Yeah, no question for me. Yeah, Artorias is probably the most iconic character outside of Gwyn in the FromSoft universe. Maybe Gale.
ONS.
Amazing cutscene.
Yeah.
Yeah, no question S tier.
And
Great lore.
And mechanically, actually, a very cool fight for the time, because you have to remember this is a 2011 game.
Yeah.
Pretty complex for the time.
The
Very cool.
flip is cool, but also when he decides to do all three, you're dead no matter what. But it's like you should be able to avoid it.
Yeah, like the thing is with like the slam, the turn in the air and then slamming his sword down. It just like it's one of the few times where in early FromSoft, you had to roll sideways instead of backwards.
Yep, which was very cool, actually.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
Hey, I'll save everyone a lot of bother. For me, every boss in the DLC is an S tier boss, which is why I still think that the DS1 DLC has a claim
Ooh.
to being the best DLC they put out in terms of just sheer quality across the board. Now, I personally think Shadow is better just because of how much it has going, but if somebody came to me and said they think the DS1 DLC is the best DLC they made, I wouldn't, dismiss them.
Yeah, I could see. Well, we're not to that one, so I'll wait. But I can sympathize with chat on the KillahB thing.
Yeah, KillahB would be A for me as well. Like the next one is Dragon KillahB, by the way.
Oh, the next one is KillahB.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I could be pulled down to a B.
Ooh, to a B even.
Yeah. It's got some really janky hitboxes.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with that. I mean, I think this is one of those odd scenarios where I'll agree with basically every criticism you give, including the jank, that chaos attack that if you don't know how to negotiate, basically ends the fight for you, and all of that. But I just think the cutscene to get to the boss is iconic with the Hawkeye guy shooting it out of the sky.
Yeah, that's
I
really
think
cool.
that might be perhaps the coolest cutscene they've ever produced. I really, really like, the cinema of it all when you enter the fight and he descends from the sky with a flaming attack. I think for a dragon boss, the camera actually functions reasonably well by DS1 standards, which is kind of surprising because all of the other last bosses, ruin the camera. I just really enjoy the fight. Until I saw Midir and Sin, I thought KillahB was the best dragon they'd put out. So, considering it's a 2011 boss, I give it an S tier person.
I'd give it a high B.
Yeah, for me,
A B plus, an A minus.
Yeah, it goes into A for me. Like the fight is amazing. Like the cutscene is just great. Even like the arena is okay. Like it's nothing special. It's just there and it's okay.
It's kind of stupid that there's two dogs outside the arena, though. I'll never understand the logic behind that.
There are more than 2 dogs outside that arena.
Yeah, that's just typical FromSoft stupidity in terms of like, let's just
It's
copy,
just 3.
paste some dogs.
Yeah, there's 3 on the way to the boss, but if you go like
Yeah.
to the back, there's 2 more, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I really enjoy the boss.
Yeah, it's a good fight, no doubt about it. But I wouldn't like it has some issues which just doesn't make it S for me. And yeah, some hitboxes like and some of his moves just I think it's definitely a hitbox issue. Just like some of the moves where I'm like 100% certain like I should not have been hit by that, where you just take massive damage.
And he'll pull you. He
Yeah.
not frame trap, that's wrong. He just drags you. You're in the middle of the roll and he'll drag you until your roll is done and then it'll hit.
Yeah.
And then just sometimes the way he moves when he's walking toward you, it just seems awkward. And then he'll also do that one move where he jumps past you and then does the fire spray.
Yeah.
But he'll jump past you when you're like right against the wall. So it looks dumb and it's very hard to avoid.
100% agree.
Side small pro to highlight is if you can manage it, which is no small feat.
the weapon you get from cutting his tail is probably the best game in all of best weapon in all of DS1. So I think that's kind of a really cool
Wait, what do you
reward
get
for
for
what
cutting
is a
his
pretty
tail?
steep challenge. I think it's called the Onyx Blade or the Obsidian Blade. It's like by far the best weapon in
I
DS1.
don't think I
It's
ever cut off his tail.
yeah, it's a pretty tough challenge to even secure the weapon, but if you do, it's a hell of a pickup, which I think is really cool for that additional effort some players put in.
Yeah, okay, but then
I actually think that mechanic was just great in general.
but that weapon then would only be good in No Game Plus.
You can go to the DLC early.
Yeah, but who's fighting KillahB at level 20? Oh, fuck you, Killah, you will.
I did do him second last though,
Yeah,
and really that's kind of last because Gwyn is like
yeah,
you have to do Gwyn
Yeah.
last.
exactly.
But yeah,
honestly,
moving on.
on my Deathless run, he was second to last as well. Yeah. But yeah. Mance.
Sorry, who?
Sorry, what?
Who was the boss?
Manus, the Father of the Abyss.
Oh, Manus. Yeah, another S tier boss for me.
That's probably my favorite fight in the game.
Really?
Yeah.
You want to say more, Killer?
It's just his moveset's amazing. The arena, the lore, himself. Yeah, it's really good. Second phase as well when he throws in the magic. The only drawback are the graves. The stupid, kind of the same as the Gwyn thing. He can break them, so they can get out of the ways.
Mm.
It's not as bad, but yeah, just the whole thing. Everything about him is gravy.
I do remember you swearing very, very loudly when you lost a run to him.
It made no sense. Like I was so good at that fight. I lost 2 to him.
Yeah.
And none to KillahB, which makes no sense.
Yeah.
I
But
think
yeah,
the only pros that I would add to what Killer's already put out is it's super cool that you can summon Sif for the fight from a lore standpoint.
Oh,
I think
yeah.
that's a very nice little dimension. And then I also think it's very, very satisfying to parry the humanity attack with the pendant.
That's so cool.
Mm.
It's like you don't need to, you can dodge the other ones, but it just feels so boss. You just shoot out this magic that blocks everything. It's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, and again, I think, normally I'm not a fan of the boss from another game in the wrong game idea, for example, Melania being more Sekiro, but in Elden Ring for some reason. But I think Manus being a Bloodborne boss in DS1 kind of works because he becomes immediately so much more intimidating because of his rapid pace. But at the same time, if you study him, he actually has pretty generous kind of openings, and that pendant bit does a lot of damage too. So yeah, I think it's an S tier boss.
Yeah. A tier for me. Mainly, yeah, he has great lore. He has an okay arena. I like the way you get sucked into there is great. Like, he's built up throughout the entire DLC that is coming. His design is amazing. His moveset is okay. But I just feel that his reach is always just that little bit longer than you expected. Like when he does the extending his fleshy arm basically, and then like slamming down, or when he's swiping with the arm, I kind of feel that it's always a little bit like the hitbox and the reach of it is always a little bit more than you would expect.
So with that big hand attack, he does have like 2 different distances he goes with it. Sometimes because I always roll it away, and sometimes it's like right on top of me, and then other times I won't be able to get the punish off. So it is a little inconsistent that way, but I don't see that as a flaw personally.
Yeah, yeah. I know, like even with just this normal like hand swipes, not even like the reach thing is like somehow I always get clipped by them, no matter what my distance is. And maybe that's just a me issue or something. Like if I'm fighting him in any challenge, well, in most challenge runs, like I always snipe him from outside of the arena.
I was just going to say, when
That's
was the
a
last time
shame.
you even fought Manus?
That is a
Fist weapons
shame.
only. No, Deathless. I fought him in Deathless. I did Deathless after fist weapons, and in Deathless I sniped him from outside of the arena. By the way, but yeah, fist weapons only was the last time I fought him, and
Yeah, I mean, I've got to defer to Killer because if he's saying it's dodgeable, then evidently it is because I mean he's fought the boss way more than both of us. But I also think that if there's an attack that's kind of difficult to understand, so long as it's not run breaking or attempt breaking, you can kind of let it slide because, for instance, fighting Radon, since that's been top of our minds with the DLC recently, there were a bunch of attacks that I still am not entirely clear on how to dodge. I'm sure the two of you feel the same, but it didn't feel like it ruined the fight in any way, did it?
Yeah.
yeah.
No. What I was talking about with that attack, it's not actually you're more likely to get hit, it's you're more likely to not get the punish. For me, anyway, the way I dodge it, and it's not like everybody's not going to dodge it the same way, right?
Yeah, I mean, technically, like all the attacks can be dodged. Like absolutely, like we all have our iframes and our dodge rolls, and then like the dodge timings. But yeah, I don't know. Somehow Maz attacks always seem to just clip me. Like they're it's not like I get fully hit by his hand every single time. And I know it's probably a me issue that my timing is always like slightly off, perhaps on my rolls. But yeah, somehow he always managed to hit me to just clip me a bit. And like honestly, like out of the deals, well, no, I can't say that. But he is one of the fights that I look forward to the least. And then for me, he's A tier.
I love it.
Yeah, same. But yeah, he is not that distant from where Killer and I. He's definitely better than Four Kings. Four Kings can fuck right off.
I have to say, like for this A tier that we have here, I would say I put them all at the same spot. Like it's not like I consider Gwyn better than Four Kings or Four Kings or Manus worse than Gwyn. I think.
You think Taurus Demon is better than Manus?
No. They're at the same level for me. They're at the same level for me. Yeah.
That's insane to me. But if you were about to put that one ahead of Manus,
yeah, same. I don't think Taurus Demon and Manus can exist on the same plane. But
sorry, guys. Sorry.
It is what it is.
Yeah. It's the same for me. Sanctuary Guardian.
like low S, high A for me. He's I like his moveset. There's a couple things that can get janky with him as far as objects in the arena that can change the hitbox on his attacks, which is weird. But no, I like his attacks. He looks really cool. The arena's cool. And yeah, it happens like right you go into the DLC and you got a boss immediately. It was cool.
Yeah, I think the impact of that was very impressive. It immediately starts all action, which kind of lingers in your memory even after you've beaten the DLC. And also to refer back to something Jin said in the context of Artorias, it's kind of cool that Sanctuary Guardian has a couple of attacks that you actually need to dodge sideways to avoid, particularly those sort of lightning strikes that it does. And I think that's very satisfying in a game that generally, encourages rolling in or rolling backwards. So yeah, and also just visually, art style wise, I thought it's a very kind of impressive boss by DS1 standards. S tier as well.
love the design. Love that it's like, as Killah points out, like you enter the DLC, bang, here's a boss. I hate the fight. I feel that all the criticism that Ellen Beast gets of always running behind him and then trying to catch up to him can be said for Sanctuary Guardian. I dislike the fact that we're basically running the entire arena all the fucking time just trying to get to him.
Yeah, I didn't find that. And the difference is just the distance, right?
Yeah,
Elden Ring fucking basically leaves
On
the
the end of
game.
the arena.
Yeah,
yeah, the arena is
next
smaller.
postal code.
yeah.
Yeah, and I do think that, unlike Elden Beast, who often chains moves that, cause it to, pop off from one end of the arena to the other, back and forth on a, sequence, Sanctuary Guardian seems to rest after certain patterns. It has like 2-3 moves it does, and then it charges at you, and then it rests for you to get hits in. And I find that certainly much less annoying than Elden Beast. But then I haven't fought Elden Beast since the Torrent patch recently, so I might have to do that before I can issue a new and revised opinion on
I
Elden
have to do
Beast.
that too.
Another cool thing about Sanctuary Guardian is he can change his combos. Like with
Yes.
most bosses, it's the same order that they're doing the attacks in. Like there'll be different attacks, but it's the same thing.
Mm.
But he can switch up his combos, which is bad sometimes because you get hit, but it's cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's cool that he can do that, like that he can break. Well, I mean, I want to say break his AI, but that's not really what's happening. Like that he breaks his standard there, but that actually makes me like him even less because it becomes less predictable that way. And then I know that that's like a thing. Somehow it's a good thing, but also it's a bad thing because I already didn't like the fight, and the fact that he just switches up his moveset on the fly makes it even less likable.
I mean, I'm curious. Then surely you have a no lower than an A, right? Since you have Taurus Demon at A
It's B.
and 4 Kings.
Yeah, I think B is
Criminally low, personally.
Yeah, for me it's a B.
I can see somebody putting it B, and hard disagree. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There's some jank. The lightning can be a little annoying, but no, it's still I put it low S, high A.
Yeah, I mean,
James, you want to summarize your scores on the 4 DLC bosses then?
well, I mean, Artorias is just a great fight all around.
Okay. So that's S, right?
Yeah.
And then you had Calamite.
and Manus go into A tier, and Sanctuary goes into B.
Hmm. Do you still feel then that this is the best DLC? Because your scores don't necessarily merit that.
Well, we haven't gotten to the rest of the DLCs yet.
Well, this concerns me.
You shouldn't have told him that. Now it's gonna affect his ratings on the other one. He's gonna remember, and he's gonna make sure he doesn't average below an A on the other one.
Oh, no, trust me. My opinions are already formed on the DS2 and DS3 DLC.
Well, DS2's DLCs are. I mean, the less
How
said,
dare you?
The only S tier boss in Dark Souls 3 is in the DLC. All the rest of the DLC bosses are C or D.
Yeah, we're gonna have a fight over DS3, I think, because both Killah and I are big fans of DS3.
Yeah. Bell Gargoyles. C.
That's a B for me.
B? Alright.
Yeah, it's cool. It's duo fight that can get annoying, honestly. With RNG, but it's a cool reveal with it coming down.
Mm.
And their moveset is alright. It's pretty predictable. You can get around a lot of it. There's some strafes you can do. You can get a tail cut. It's cool that the other one is already at like half health or something. I think he's at like around half health. I can't remember, but yeah. The only bad thing about it is you can get some hitboxes that are questionable because of the elevations, and yeah, sometimes the RNG will just get you everybody doing fire and you can't do anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, it's a toss-up between like a low A and a high B because while I think everything Killer said is right, it is still a sort of iconic boss, and I do think that they've tried to capture the magic of it very, very many times since, including most horrifically in DS2. So yeah, I would probably, give it an A minus just for its iconic status, but I must mention the run back being awful.
Yeah. I mean, the run back, like, at least the channeler doesn't respawn. That makes it a little bit more doable. But yeah, the run back is still, like, no matter from which bonfire that you start, and it's not even like, if you start at Firelink, you still have those that fucked up room with all the little guys in it. Same if you start from Undead Parish. But for me, Belgorgol itself is C. Like, yeah, it has a great cutscene to begin with. It has some nice moves. The fact that the second one does start at half health, you get a tail weapon from it. But I don't consider it an iconic boss. I consider it a bit of a throwaway boss. Like,
That's the first duo boss you get, right? Or I guess man-eaters.
yeah. Yeah.
Well, the first duo in DS1, which was probably the first sort of truly popular FromSoft game, but also it's the gatekeeper for the first bell, right? Which makes it a memorable boss.
You know what? I'll say B, because I do feel that it's a better fight than Man-Eater. I think I put Man-Eater in C tier. But yeah, I think it is better than Man-Eater. Like the fight is clearly based on. Like it has more interesting moveset. There's more room to maneuver and everything. But yeah, it just didn't. It didn't grab me. Depending on the weapon you have at that point, and whether or not you use summons. Like the weapon is one factor. Like the 2 summons you have in front of the boss fog is another one. Like it can be such an easy fight that it's just not memorable.
Yeah, one more thing that just occurred to me, and I've seen a lot of first-time playthrough guys suffer from this, is that the moment the fight ends, the hollows, if you've not killed them en route to the boss, storm the boss room, and they can gank you and take your 10k souls. So
Really?
that is, yeah, I've seen many people have this done to them, and that's kind of really unfortunate too, because getting back to those 10k souls is no guarantee.
I have never experienced that in all my years of playing Souls.
I thought that was just a DS2 thing.
Yeah.
No, it's actually a thing in DS1 too. I've seen a fair few people, unfortunately, get ganked. Or worse, roll off the roof trying to avoid the gank.
Yeah, I'm with FP on this. He says they always get at the doorway for him, don't come in. Yeah, get stuck in the doorway. Yeah, exactly.
Seen a couple of people get ganked, dude. And I don't know, maybe it's a positioning thing. Maybe like those guys were a bit too close to the door to begin with, and ended up getting ganked. But I've definitely seen people die. I think even Asmongold on his very, very famous DS1 playthrough had that happen to him, but he actually survived it. I don't think he ended up losing his souls.
Okay, interesting. Well, did not know that. Like in all the years I've played, I have not noticed that at all.
Yeah, to the homeward bone, obviously. And also, it's not like it's not a thing that I would levy against the boss anyway.
Weird.
Yeah, I think B is not bad.
I do rank it above Sanctuary Guardian.
That's criminal in my view. But then Sanctuary Guardian and B
alone is cause for you having your FromSoft subscription cut off. Miyazaki's going to send you some very unpleasant mail over the next month.
Hell, if I could get a mail from Miyazaki, my life would be done. Like, I would die a happy man. Next one, Kepler Demon.
Bit of chaos tier.
Really?
Fucking terrible. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, the boss on its own, not that bad, but it has a despicable run back, an awful arena, and 2 dogs thrown in, which is the most shameless and lazy piece of video game design I think I've ever seen. Only, well, I would say that, but then I've seen a few other bosses along the line that do the same thing, and equally shamelessly in those instances as well. So yeah, I'm with Killer. You've got to give it a fucking D. It's not an F, but it's definitely a D.
Yeah. D.
Hmm.
As an enemy outside of there, fighting them is alright. But yeah, all of that stuff, it's definitely a D.
Killer,
You
get
get
ready to
toxic
send some
right
hate
away.
mail. Get ready to send some hate mail because looking at the camera, Ginge has that despicable look on his face of somebody who's about to say it's an 8.
He's about to, for shock value, say it's good.
The arena is the worst. Like, okay, there's a cheese there with jumping on, with running up the stairs, jumping on the ledge and stuff like that, where you can kill both the dogs easily as well as Capra Demon himself. The fact that there's 2 dogs is just fucking bullshit.
Toxic dogs.
They're not toxic dogs.
Are they
Don't
not?
they bleed you? I think they
Bleed, that's what I mean.
Yeah, they do bleed, yeah. Like, the arena is way too small for it. The run-up, like, depending on from where you go, I didn't think it was that abysmal. Like, if you run in from Firelink Shrine, it's a long haul, but it's definitely doable.
It's not about the length, Ginger. If you use the shortcut in Undead Bug, it's not the length necessarily, although I think the length is annoying.
Yeah.
It's just the enemies and how aggressive they are. It's not super easy to run past all those enemies.
Yeah, no, like, running past, yeah, it is, like, yeah. But, like, okay, and here it comes. Once you've dealt with, well, once you're inside of the arena, once you've dealt with the dogs, and you fight him one-on-one, it's an enjoyable fight. And then I think that this kind of ties into what Killah was saying, like, if you fight them outside of the arena, like in the Demon Ruins, it's definitely a doable fight, it's a fun fight.
I said fine, not fun.
Okay, fine. It's a fine fight. But, yeah, I just
James,
kind
this is
of...
a bit like saying after you have your foot cut off for diabetes, it's a fine life. It's fun.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying it's A or S tier. I am thinking, like, low B, high C.
No.
But
No way. Especially when you have Sanctuary Guardian in B, bro.
yeah, I mean, I like fighting Capra Demon one-on-one is, I find it an enjoyable fight. I kind of like it. And
It's not one-on-one.
Yeah, no, that's
There's
what I'm saying.
no
Like,
way.
there is a lot of bullshit to go through before you get to the one-on-one part. But once you get the
And fighting
one-on-one,
him-
it's enjoyable, and that's why I would put it in C.
No, the
I don't
arena
even think
is
it's
still
enjoyable.
shit.
Yeah, exactly. He just jumps on you and smacks you with both of those huge cleavers, and it does a massive amount of damage for
Oh,
that stage of the
He's
game.
basically Omen Killer.
Yeah, absolutely, except Omen Killer is
No.
not in a tiny arena that breaks the camera.
I didn't get the camera breaks. Like,
And he has the fire attack. And he has the jumping. He's more complex. He's better. I see the similarity, but Omen Killer is better.
Ain't no way, bro. Ain't no way.
yeah, I'm sorry, but Capra Demon, I like his design. I like the guy.
His aesthetic is cool.
Yeah.
I'll give it that.
He does
The fight is
spectrum,
dog
yeah.
shit though.
The one in Albanuric Village does have the 2 dogs, and I think it's a deliberate sort of throwback to Capra
Yeah.
Demon.
Yeah.
But in Elden Ring, you
can-
have the means to deal with that.
Yeah, exactly.
You have a essentially huge arena because it's open. You have ranged options to take the dogs out. You have spirit ashes. You have all sorts of things. Whereas in DS1, you're forced to, take it in the arse on all fronts.
Well,
And you have no fucking time to do anything. You walk in there and they're right there. And also Mavis, we don't have to do that because they're all fuckable if you're not a bitch.
and that's probably something we might have to do on Kick and not on Twitch.
Yeah, bro, it's nuts to me that you would place them in the same room as Sanctuary Guardian.
Oh yeah, I kind of.
It's insane to me taking it out of D. It's arguably F.
I would like.
Yeah, I would listen to a case for F. They're one of those edge case bosses for me. He is one of the edge case bosses for me.
Like the thing I'm thinking of putting it is on par with Iron Golem.
I'm outraged at anything other than D.
Yeah, it's like, I don't want to obviously have to defend Iron Golem because I'm not a huge fan of that boss either, but yeah, that's just that's bonkers to me.
Yeah.
We're obviously not going to agree.
Yeah, I know you guys aren't gonna agree, but to me it's on par with Iron Golem. Like I like.
You know why he's doing this though, Killer? He's worried that when we get to DS3, the average will work out to DS3 being better.
No, no.
So he's shamelessly average stacking here. He's like, fucking with the data.
Definitely not because.
I stand by that's a shock value rating.
No, it's
And he couldn't even. The highest he could go was C. He couldn't even bring himself to.
Ginges is doing more maths right now than he did in his entire.
That's not true. Because there is not a single boss in Dark Souls 3 that is on par with Sif or with Artorias.
Yeah,
that's
incorrect.
the statement of the afternoon.
Yeah.
Well, it's night for me, so. Ceaseless
If we did
Discharge.
like a comparative tier list, which I don't think is fair to DS1, that would be, just
not
biased.
fair.
But if we did that, I don't know if Sif would ever even enter the top 15 in DS3.
Oh, it definitely
honestly.
would.
I would say I can see it in top 10.
Yeah.
It's a
Maybe
great fight.
top 10, maybe maybe, I don't know. But it would be the top 15 is probably an exaggeration. But yeah, it would be an edge case for top 10 for me.
Yeah.
Ceaseless Discharge.
This is D tier
C-
garbage.
I'm fine with it. It's the spectacle for me. It's cool that all the lava drains out after. He's huge. He's just kind of standing there, and you're like, oh, okay, this guy doesn't give a shit. And then you pick up something random, and
Yeah.
then he's an asshole. He's easy to fight on its own. It's cool that you can get him to jump over. Yeah, that's about it.
I give it 10 seconds before Spectrum tells his story, but in case he's not around to do that, he raised a very good point with me when we discussed DS1 earlier, which is that if you don't know the cheese for the Ceaseless Discharge and fight him up front trying to hack at his fist as he slams them, it is the most painful and tedious experience because he chunks 3/4 of your health per slam, and he takes very limited damage when you fight him.
So that's actually how I fought him the first time. I didn't know about the cheese, and it was fine. It wasn't super entertaining, but it wasn't. It was fine. It was whatever. It wasn't fun, but it wasn't. I didn't find it tedious.
I never fought him straight up. Never. Like even on my first playthrough, I picked up the clothes, from the little altar, and he started, and at the point where I was standing, I was like, at the altar, I was like, oh fuck, I'm not safe here. I'm gonna run back to the entrance, and put like lightning resin on or whatever, and actually get ready for the fight, because I didn't really think that that was how it was gonna go. So I ran back to the entrance, and I just had the cheese all of a sudden, and I haven't fought him straight up. Never have, never will probably.
But here's the question: how did you feel when you backed up, re-resined your sword, and then realized that he has like one slam that you punish twice, and then he just falls off, and that's his entire HP gone? Did you feel satisfied or rewarded by that experience?
Oh, I felt like shit. Like, I actually got hit by the slam, because like I ran to the door, and I applied the resin, because I had the resin in like my quick slots, and I turned around and then went to go back to the boss just as he jumped. So his slam actually hit me, and I was like, oh shit, he can't actually get to here. And I backed away, I healed up, and he was still with his arm lying there. I was like, okay, I guess I just started hating on him. And like it was such a waste of, first of all, a heal, and second of all, a lightning resin.
Yeah. Yeah, no, dude, I find it to be. It's one of those bosses where if you say C tier, whatever, I'm not gonna debate it, but it's just, such a waste of a good design. By DS1 standards, it's a very kind of imposing and visually interesting boss in a very cool arena. I also like the fact that when you grab that one item, that's when it aggroes. Until then, there's no aggro.
Yeah.
But outside of that, like the nature of the fight is so deeply anticlimactic and boring that my only kind of saving grace for it is it's not as bad as Dragon God. So yeah, for me it's a D tier, but I would be okay with C tier as well.
Yeah, I put it for the C for it looks cool, and yeah, the Aladdin turn when you grab the clothes.
Yeah, it's going in D for me. Like, I think under Pinwheel, above Butterfly. Excellent. Fire Sage above Butterfly. I don't know. It just because like nobody's fighting this boss straight up. Nobody is fighting him straight up anymore. Like the cheese, I think the sword cheese is probably like the most widely known cheese, except for maybe the Konami codes, and that's about it.
It's not even really a cheese. It's dev intended.
Yeah, it's an well, I mean, is it dev intended? You think? I think it's more of an exploit.
No, they had to make that animation of him jumping over and grabbing the edge.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's just such a lost opportunity in my view, and it's really emblematic of the deep problems with the second half of DS1 for me.
Centipede Demon.
D.
So Killah is not a fan of Centipede.
D.
I know this.
It's a garbage fight. There's like nowhere to stand. There's these two little areas. He's huge. He breaks your camera, and he fucking shakes your camera the entire time. His moves are bullshit too.
Cool cutscene though.
Cool cutscene. I don't like the way he looks.
Nope.
I don't like his aesthetic. The cutscene is cool, and I think it was Nuke that pointed out to me once. You can actually see him from another section.
Yeah.
That was cool. Like before you get down there, you can actually see him. But yeah, it's just a terrible fight.
Also,
you get hurt everywhere.
To traverse the lava in the fight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't get it until you kill him.
Damage.
Yeah. There's like
that's
3 areas. Fun. There's one area you have to fight him if you're melee. It's the only place that makes sense.
Yeah.
And then he jumps up, he breaks your camera, he shakes the camera, which is infuriating. His hitboxes are stupid. Yeah, it's just a bad fight. It's cool that you can cut off his arm or whatever, so.
But don't forget, Killah, when you get to that area, you do get a very precious item.
What? Sunlight maggot?
No. Inside the boss arena, don't like if you add to the area where you fight him in melee, isn't there like a green Titanite short or something
Oh
like that?
yeah, fuck that.
Yeah, exactly.
So useless. I forgot about that. I pick it up just so it's not in the way, so I
Yeah.
don't have to look at it.
Yeah, exactly, same. And I agree with everything you said. Like, it's definitely D tier, only slightly beating out Moonlight Butterfly.
No man, so bad.
Yeah, I was gonna give it a C, but I mean, everything you said is true, and perhaps I'm, you know, almost forgetting some of the horrors of fighting the boss because it's been a while since I last played DS1. So yeah, no, I'm happy to defer to you guys and go with D.
I can only imagine what it does to the camera when you're locked on.
Oh, it's horrible. It's fucking horrible.
Yeah,
Like, I had to lock onto it during the bow run, and it's just, I mean, even locked on, like, with his moveset, with the way he shakes and everything, like, even then half my arrows were missing. It's insane. And don't even think about, like, cutting off his arm before, like, if you're doing, like, a challenge run, like, something like a bow, something like a fist weapon, there's no way you're cutting out his arm and getting that ring early. Like, you can just forget about that. You just, like, it would be different if you could actually target his arm. Like, that would make sense to me, but you just can't, and it's such a fucked up fight.
yeah.
I gotta say, 6 bosses in D tier doesn't bode well for DS1.
Yeah, but let's look at the bosses in D tier. It's basically fully Lost Islet. Demon Runes and Lost Islet.
Yeah, I mean, well, we think Capra Demon should be in the D tier as well. So
That's because you guys have no taste whatsoever.
And the butterfly was a favor to me, so
Yeah.
it is just a bad fight though.
It is. KillahB.
S tier for Booba, right, guys?
Yeah.
Right, fellas? I actually really like that fight though. I put it A.
Mm-hmm. Doc?
A tier as well. Good fight. Very cool cutscene. Interesting arena, though I'm not a huge fan of the environmental hazards. There are scenarios where if you're not reasonably aggressive, there ends up being lava all around you and you're kind of stuck, in between pools that do immense damage.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But overall, really fun fight. Some really cool dodges too.
Yeah, cool strafes you can do. You can manipulate her pretty well. But if you fuck up, you can get into a jump loop where she just keeps jumping, spitting lava. And all you can do is run away, and that baits out another jump.
Yeah.
But I think her AI is pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, like I said, it's just you can manipulate where she goes, so you can normally get her away from shooting lava all over the place. But there are definitely times where, you can't avoid that. Like,
Guys in chat, feel free to elaborate why you feel B is more merited, because I think all three of us are in the A sort of arena.
Yeah. I put it in solidly in A as well. Like, the thing is, like, you guys both brought it up with the lava pools that you can get stuck in them. Like, I feel that when that happens, that's basically a problem you made yourself. It's not like bad game design. It's not really the boss's fault. It's more like, we as players didn't position her right, or we baited out always the attacks that spew lava.
Sorry, before I forget, one thing that I did forget was the hitboxes on the lava are kind of bullshit.
Oh yeah, true.
Like, you have room to run through, and then you go and you die.
Yeah.
Does that count as a hit for hitless if you get knocked by the lava?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a shame, because it's technically sort of like an environmental hazard, right?
Yeah, well, it's from an attack. Like, traps as well count. It's just
Gotcha.
like the swamp doesn't count, and basically
Gotcha.
any poison.
I just want to flag one thing that Jin said, which I think is very important. He says that the lava pools are almost sort of the product of you know, poor gameplay or gameplay that, is not sufficiently aggressive. And I do tend to agree with that. I'm just going to say, Ginge, I want the same energy when we talk about Demon of Hatred later. I expect no complaints about the fucking camera in Demon of Hatred, because that man is super maneuverable, and you kind of dictate where he goes. So I keep that in mind.
Yeah. Remember your stuff about certain bosses being in the wrong games? That's Demon of Hatred.
Yeah, that's fine. I will concede that. Yeah.
Anyway,
I will
but yeah.
share my counterpoint at that time.
And so Quaylag for me as well, like A tier solidly.
You missed it, FP. I put her in S tier for Booba.
Yeah. S for superb tits.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Spectrum's argument is that it's just a generally kind of dull boss. I mean, yes, but like it's an older game, right? Like we have to make concessions for it being an older game with simpler moves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can
She's
trivialize
definitely
it,
better
but
than Natchka.
like we've said before, you can trivialize all of them.
Yeah.
Nachka has more attacks.
But
Natchka
I
does.
hate Natchka though.
Yeah.
I also
agree.
realized that Romina is the third time they've used the same concept.
Romina's dope. I like
Romina's a
Romina.
good
I think
fight,
a lot of that was the arena, though.
Yeah.
I enjoyed Romina.
Okay, we will do Elden Ring DLC boss. I have to find a tier list for that or make one.
Yep.
But I think it's going to be a
Moving
separate one from the normal Elden Ring, because Elden Ring is just a shit ton of bosses. Priscilla.
C for me.
Really?
Yeah.
This one's tough. I honestly don't even know my own opinion on it. Probably B, I guess, because I like the I feel like the problem with this boss is the boss is very boring. There's nothing particularly special, but I like two things about it. One is I love the idea that it's a boss that you can voluntarily not fight if you are so inclined, because she offers you the option to leave. And I really, really like what they did with the painted world of Ariamis in general, because I don't know about you guys, but I hadn't played very many games that, have a mechanic like that basically transports you to a secret level that is very missable. So I kind of give her some credit for those things. But the fight itself I find to be very irritating. You basically have to run around in the circle and look at the ground, hoping to see her footsteps, which I don't find a particularly interesting mechanic.
Yeah, it's a cool concept, but
but it's just not
work.
fun to execute.
Yeah.
And she hits very hard if she gets at you, because she procs bleed relatively quickly.
Yeah.
And that is an issue because the run back again is very long and unnecessarily tedious. So yeah, I mean, I'm almost talking myself into a C, but I would say B minus.
Yeah, I say C on that one.
A.
Oh my god, Ginge.
Above Sanctuary. Oh my god, bro, I can't live with your Sanctuary Guardian thing.
Okay, and the reasons why you guys are saying is the reasons why I love her. Like, it is an optional fight, and she gives you the option of saying like, okay, fuck off, you're everyone's favorite waifu, I'm not gonna fight you. And if you do choose to fight her, she beats your fucking ass to the ground. Like, she basically tells you like, okay, dude, I don't want to fight you, please just back the fuck up. And the moment you decide like, yeah, I'm not gonna fucking listen to you, she shows you why you should not fight her. And
because she's cheap. You're making it sound like she turns into fucking Artorias after She warns
No,
you.
not
No,
necessarily.
she fucking disappears and bleeds you.
Yeah, she has like the whole snow thing, which is a mechanic which was not incorporated in any of the other bosses. Like, it's something new, it's something different. She had the bleed effect, which, to my knowledge, hasn't been implemented by any of the other bosses.
It's
Like,
really fun.
It's very
What do you
different
mean
from what you've
hasn't been
experienced so far.
implemented by? Are you telling me no other boss bleeds?
In DS1?
In DS1, yeah, Capra does, unfortunately.
Alright, Capra the dogs do.
Bro, no, I mean, look. So let me be very clear. I think I'm with you on everything you said in the pros column, and I generally give a lot of credit for that. I even, in fact, include things like lore and music in my approval for bosses. But the thing is that the chief criterion always has to be, at least in my opinion, did you have fun fighting the boss?
That's
Yes.
what I was about to say. Like, to be an A tier, I feel like it has to be a fight you're gonna look forward to, and don't fucking tell me you're looking forward to Priscilla.
I do.
Oh my god.
Like,
That's
honestly, like,
nuts to me.
Priscilla is she's okay, lore-wise, and Doug is right, like, lore shouldn't be the defining factor, but lore-wise, she is just an amazing character. And, like, yeah, and as Nico points out, feet.
Oh, I forgot feet.
Yeah.
I forgot feet.
Yeah, so that's in the plus column. Thank you, Miyazaki. No, but, like, I always look forward to her. Like, it's an interesting fight. Like, it's not just, okay, we're running up to this boss and we're beating his ass over and over again until we win. Like, you actually have to pay attention here to, like, stuff like the ground, for where you know, where are our footsteps.
Okay, but
You actually have to pay attention to stuff like the ground. That sounds so
No,
fun.
I mean, you know, you have to pay attention to, like, where are the footsteps on that ground, on the snow.
Okay, but you know,
It does something different than the other bosses do.
What I'll say here is, Ginge, okay, but then I want the same energy when we get to other bosses that you have to pay close attention to. I don't want to hear crap when we get to DS3, Sekiro.
Oh,
and other
yeah.
games where you
You're
have to pay
talking
very
about that
close
fucked up 3-phase boss that should never have been a 3-phase boss.
Man,
I don't want to hear shit.
I love that fight, you know, when you're in Sage's cave or whatever the fuck it's called, and you need a goddamn torch to see your enemy. Oh, you can just look at the puddle on the ground. It's fine. You're stabbed and you're dead. It's terrible.
Wait,
And she has a similar
right,
thing
that-
because she bleeds you.
Yeah, I mean, A tier, I think, is absolutely, completely off. But yeah, the worst thing is I'm not sure you're applying the criterion correctly. Like, I just don't understand how it's fun for you to circle around mindlessly staring at the ground. Like, that's what, like, a fucking pigeon does, IRL. Why do you want to be a pigeon simulator? I just don't get it.
You have to watch the paint dry to know when you have to attack the boss. It's a really good mechanic.
No, I mean, it's different, you know. It's not just your like. Let's take the rest of the boss. Okay, fine. For 4 kings, you need a ring. But after that, you just run in and wail on him. Gwyn, same thing. You run in and wail on him. Taurus Demon, same
Okay,
thing.
but then that's
Kelmeet,
the
same
flaw of
thing.
the
Mana,
game.
same thing. Quaylog, same
Right,
thing.
but I didn't hear you give them D tiers or anything. You put 4 kings in A tier and said it's a brilliant boss.
Yeah. So by your logic, then I should put Crossbreed in S tier.
No, what logic is this of mine that you're applying? I'd like to know.
Because I didn't put those bosses in B tier. Like, I put them in A.
Those were dog shit takes, and this is like dog shit times 2.
No, I mean, like, to just I'm just simplifying it there, you know? Like I can say the same thing for Island Golem, for Pinwheel, for Demon Fire Sage. You just run in and hit them. Crossbreed Priscilla actually does something different.
Sure, like, yes. Syphilis does something different, but I don't want it.
She's actually the easiest boss to run in and hit.
Yeah,
She's just standing there.
she is, and then she turns invisible and fucks your ass up.
No, you just watch
Yeah.
for the feet.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
mean, okay. Let me ask you this then, since you bring this up. So let me condense your opinion here. You're saying that she does something different, which I can see,
Mhm.
and you're saying that it makes the boss a very fruitful sort of challenge, right?
Yeah.
So let me ask you, how many times did it take you to kill her on any playthrough? What's the max it's taken you to kill her?
Over 50.
Did
You're
you say
telling me you
5-0?
50
Yeah.
times to Priscilla?
Oh
Bo,
my god, you have to stop wanking for a second and actually play the game, Ginge.
no. Guys, bow only.
Okay, well then that's not the right gauge though, right? Like you have to use a conventional playthrough. That's a self-imposed challenge and very
Yeah.
situational. Like
Remember,
obviously,
we were
bow
discussing
only
this
would
over
count for
a
her.
Hitler's perspective, a challenge runner perspective, and
Correct.
I'm not bringing up a hit list.
no, you're right. You're not really bringing up Hitler's that much, Drew. But like,
Oh,
from
fuck,
like
man.
even like a simple challenge run, like fist weapons. Yeah, okay, it doesn't take me 10 attempts, but I remember the first time I fought her, and like the first time was you had no idea what was going on. Like take that into account as well. Like the first time you fought her, like I remember this video. Zero Lenny did a series of the Dark Souls games through the IGN guide, and in it they made him fight Priscilla. And the IGN guide basically said, like, you know, this is a day one guide. Keep it in mind, this is a day one guide. And they said, like, there's a bug in the game where she just goes invisible and you just have to kill her while she's invisible. Like, they didn't know about the feat, they didn't know about any of that. And that's the way that most people go in there. Like, you get the option to fight her. If you fight her, you have at that point no idea what's going on. You don't know that you have to watch out for the feat. And even I would say, like, on the second attempt, if you haven't, like, you know, if you haven't killed her in the first attempt or haven't figured out what's going on, you wouldn't know about the feat either.
But the thing is, it doesn't really matter because if you just keep spamming R1, eventually you'll hit her, and then she appears fully, and then you just spam R1 some more. And she's
she
dead.
appears fully once you knock her enough. And then that's actually
Right,
a
yeah,
counter
but you
that
just keep
goes
on
down
kind of-
again. It's like a poison meter.
Yeah, you just kind of spin, spam R1 like an old man with a fucking insect racket, and eventually you hit something, and then the fight's done. You don't even have to look at the ground that much. But the other thing is, I mean, you mentioned the bow only run. I would imagine that would make your enjoyment of the boss even, lesser. Like, how could you have possibly enjoyed fighting her 50 times with a bow?
Because it's a fucking fun challenge.
Yeah, I don't know, Killer. I guess we're not going to agree on this, but yeah. I mean, I couldn't give her more than a.
Well, he was
Big
trying to
credit.
argue for the fight by saying the first time someone played it, they thought it was a bug.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That
I
doesn't
mean, the thing
sound
is,
like a
he's-
ringing endorsement.
I just want to say, I mean, he's giving A tier to Priscilla, but watch him give like Ishin D tier or something.
Yeah.
Ishin is not going to be ranked high for me.
Yeah, we know.
Oh, and Nico, I see you did the uwu, but apparently the uwu isn't in this scene. I don't have the... Oh, right, with the gift sub, it wasn't in either. Oh crap, I haven't even added this. But yeah.
Yeah, moving on. So you have
Wait, Doc,
Priscilla
real
in
quick,
the
can
scene.
you refund Nico?
Not on mobile,
Okay, fair enough.
unfortunately. I don't think Nico particularly cares anyway.
Yeah. I'm sorry, guys, I'm putting her in 8 here.
You should be.
Yeah, I should be putting her there, you're
Priscilla-
absolutely right.
Priscilla in the same tier as Manus
Yeah,
and higher than Sanctuary Guardian.
yeah,
I just want to make that clear to chat.
yeah. And Nico cares not. Okay, fine, fair enough.
Moving on.
Yeah, the last one, because we all agreed Bed of Chaos should not be on this list. Gwendolyn.
Another dreadfully boring boss.
Yeah. It's kind of cool. It's very annoying. It's like a C. S for
Yeah,
femboy. I forgot femboy.
he's so bad. I'm glad Aldrich ate him. He's just just an incredibly boring boss to fight. I hate that. You basically have to get your dodges right so that you can reach him in time to inflict any amount of damage, or he just teleports over to his next position. I guess the only kind of redeeming factor for the boss for me is the lore is kind of cool, and I like that you have to find a ring in one part of the game to come there and access the boss again. For me, I had never really experienced that sort of thing in a game until that point, so that was, quite novel in that sense. But as for the fight itself, I have to give it a C minus. It's just not a very fun fight, and I never look forward to it.
I mean, you don't need the ring to get to him, like if you kill the Guinevere illusion.
Yes, but yeah, I don't know. I've never done that because it seems I don't know. I'm not a psychopath. I don't just kill NPCs for no reason, but I guess a lot of people do.
You never killed Guinevere?
Never. I've never killed her on all. I think I've done 2 or 3 full playthroughs of DS1. Never killed her.
Wow, you're missing out on 3 okay NPC fights.
I've seen those. I'm glad I'm missing out on those. And although I will say the effect of it actually turning to nighttime and you realizing that Anor Londo is basically a lost city at that point is quite cool if you kill Guinevere.
Yeah, I think lore-wise you're meant to kill her. Well, like...
Yeah.
And I agree with everything. Like, it's such a boring boss. Like, yeah, mechanically, like, it has some...
But it's different, Ginge. It's different. It's
challenge. The only difference is that, while Priscilla is a fight you can actually fight her in, Guinevere is just basically a sprint to get to her, and then when you get to she teleports away again, and you have to run again. Like, that's not enjoyable. Like, it's different, sure, but it's not an enjoyable difference. And like, when you get to him/her, you're like, if you're out of stamina at that point, like, you're just fucked and you have to do it all over again. The only great thing about it is that at a certain point, like, there is an end to the corridor. Like, you can get him/her all the way to the back, and that she can't actually teleport away anymore. But in order to get there, it's like 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Also,
yeah. It's just like, From does this a lot, and I'm missing, the examples right off the top of my head, but I'm sure we'll revisit this when we talk about other bosses. But they do this thing where, they'll have a secret, that requires a certain item to get to the boss. But then you get to the boss, and the boss is a complete waste of time. So you feel, rewarded for having explored and found the secret, but then immediately underwhelmed when you find the secret. I think they did this even with the DLC with Maykir, Mother of Fingers, which I thought was a really boring boss for how much work you have to do to get to her. And it just, it leaves a poor taste in my mouth. Like, if you're going to have a secret boss, surely it has to be one of the better bosses, to make the player feel truly, rewarded for their effort.
I mean, I have to say about the Mother of Fingers, like, that the only reason I liked that boss fight was because I got it on the first try, which proved I'm a better gamer than KillahB is. And then that's the only redeeming factor that fight has.
You're definitely not a better you to be better. I can tell you that much. But yeah, it's a C minus for me on Gwendolyn.
Yeah, I would say D for me. I mean,
put it.
Yeah.
Yeah, C minus D. It gets really annoying. You say the hallway ends. It ends way too, like How fucking long was it? I forget. Nuke was telling me it's way too long.
Yeah, I think it is actually like 15 minutes into the boss fight or something.
Yeah, that's obnoxious. There's
Yeah.
no way.
Of course, Nuke found out the answer.
I didn't.
like when he pushes himself to do these things.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I tried it during like the bow run to get him all the way to the back, but like I just gave up like halfway through. Like it was just such a fucking long fight that way, and then I just cheesed him with poison arrows from the entrance. That was the easiest way to fucking get him.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Yeah, I mean I can. Yeah, it's low C, high D. Yeah, I'll put him in C. Yeah.
I mean, looking now at the tier list.
Again,
I
it's
think-
pretty balanced.
Yeah, and I think even with the flips that Killah and I would advocate for, i.e., Sanctuary Guardian up above and Manus up above, but Priscilla way lower and Four Kings way lower,
And
it would end
Demon.
up, the average would sort of end up being
And Taurus.
what it is. Yeah, and Taurus being lower. I think the average would kind of more or less end up being what it is right now.
Mm.
And it would be much more top loaded, I think. Because the
Yeah,
ones
I
we
gotta
wanted to switch were going to be like C's.
Yeah,
Mm.
I have to say it's not looking good for DS1 being the best
DS1
boss fight game in the world.
Is
Yeah.
very high and low.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
like the
Yeah.
bad bosses in DS1 are like really
Very
bad.
bad.
Yeah, I mean Battle of Chaos, Ceaseless, Fire Sage, Moonlight Butterfly, they are just terrible fights. Like honestly, like if we had an F tier here, I think like maybe except Moonlight Butterfly, like the entire D tier would just move to F.